Hello folks, welcome to another daily Bitcoin market analysis by Inspocrypto. Today, to be honest, I didn't find anything really interesting to create just an initial comment. Just one thing. A friend of mine sent me from another guy a tweet and he asked me, hey, what do you think about? And I was checking that and said, what? So this guy, I'm not going to name him, some Spanish speaker out there know him and maybe they also know the tweet. He was just saying, today they released two different datas. That was the non-farm payrolls for February and the unemployment rate for February. And what he said in his tweet is, look, the unemployment rate, just to make it clear, it was previously 3.4%. They forecasted 3.4% and we received 3.6%. Who cares that the ADP non-farm employment change went up, job openings went up more than expected, initial jobless claims, little gap of almost 16,000, so nothing big. Non-farm payrolls went up really hard because they forecasted 205,000. We did 311,000. But what do you think is a Bitcoin maxi saying? Ignoring everything, but yes, unemployment rate is rising. That's bullish, guys. That's bullish. We will go up because, just imagine, what do you think? What do you think is his excuse, his argument? This smart guy. Yeah, what do you think? Come on. Inflation is sexy? No, it's not. Come on. Bitcoin is a God's product? No, it's also not. Hey, very close to it, but no, it's not. What do you think? Come on. Say it. I don't hear it. Fiat, yeah, Fiat. Yeah, baby. Fiat is again in the house. They are talking about Fiat. This really, I'm so fucking tired. I mean, how many times? That's it? That's really it? Do you think when Satoshi Nakamoto founded Bitcoin, he said, hey, in the future, we will moon. That's our goal. We will moon. Yeah, because, we will have in a certain phase in our future the situation of pivot. Yeah. And then we will moon. We will go to 500k, maybe 1 million. I'm so fucking tired. Oh, some Bitcoin Marxists are saying 1 Bitcoin is 1 Bitcoin. Then others saying 1 Bitcoin is 1 Bitcoin and adding we are different to the fiat system because fiat system is evil. It's really evil. Yeah, it's criminal money, but Bitcoin is not. and just read such tweets after they failed with these wrong narratives about the pivot because they still don't understand what's happening in the global economy and that everything is much more complicated than just to say, hey, unemployment rate went up 0.2%, so that's bullish, Bitcoin to the moon. It's just stupid. And the thing is, I wouldn't care. Usually, I would say, stupid guy, skip it. But when I take a look and so many people are following such a smart guy, making such smart tweets, then it breaks my heart. Because I know some of you, well, not you, I hope, at least, please say you are not following this guy or at least not following his tweets are absolutely wrong. They were wrong 6 months ago, they are wrong now, and they will be wrong in 6 months because they still don't get what's happening. Like those guys who were just saying 9 months ago, hey, listen, we will have inflation. It peaked somewhere mid of year because that's what always happens, and then we will go up a little bit with unemployment. We will have pivot and everything is fine. They don't get that the whole problem is a little bit, just a little bit more complex than that. It's the whole global structure is changing. Not only, we don't need to talk about the global green agenda. We don't need to talk about the geopolitics. It's everything. It's a combination of a lot of different parameters and factors who are changing. And that has an impact. And we didn't have such a situation in the last 80 years, but many are using different patterns of the last 60 years, 70 years, to say what's going to happen in the future. That's a big problem, because let us talk about, what happened this week. The whole labor market in US doesn't look that bad. Okay, if we see non-farm employment change 242, if we see jobs openings, they went up more than expected for January. If we see, for example, that the initial jobless claims didn't, it rose a little bit more than expected. I mean, we had previously 190K. They forecasted 195, and we did 211. That's not huge. Non-farm payrolls, 504 previously, 504K. They forecasted 205K. We did non-farm payrolls, 311K. So unemployment rate, 0.2%. While we know that the labor market and statistics, what I think about that. Anyway, it's stupid to use that now as an argument. And just to say something like, hey, that's going to be bullish for Bitcoin and will push up the price a lot, while we know that even Bitcoin is not free of the fiat system. If people want to buy Bitcoin, they need to buy it with USD, with Japanese yen, with euros. The connection to the fiat system is even the first Bitcoin maxi ever, 10 years ago. What did he use to buy the first Bitcoin? What? Was it his, any organ, his heart, or his, a finger? Maybe he sent a finger in a letter to someone and he received a Bitcoin for that? Or did he sell, his wife, some child, his pet? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sometimes really very naive. But yeah, it's possible. No, usually they use the fiat system. So the connection is there, and this market only works if we receive more money. It's a really simple thing. Every single market works on that way, and the crypto market as well. And we are seeing that, Silvergate, also all these. Even Signature Bank, all these banks, all these financial services connected to the crypto market are the engine of the crypto market, are those who are bringing the liquidity to the market. We are seeing that, for example, banks like JP Morgan, we can have an opinion about JP Morgan. I have my own opinion, you can have your opinion. If we like it or not, it's one of the global players. And yeah, when they say, hey, we are going to cut the ties with Gemini, for example, and we are reducing a little bit our activity related to crypto, it's because something is happening. And it's not maybe against crypto. It's not because they say, hey, crypto will crash in 3 weeks. But they have to prioritize their business. I have mentioned that a few months ago, and I think in different analysis. While the money was on the streets, it was easy to gamble. It was easy to use that money and to make quick profits and, to go to the crypto market and full unregulated market with a lot of risk, of course. And I mean, since 2022, we know what kind of risk this market has. And they didn't care. But now they care. And now they are prioritizing. And now they are, checking their portfolios. They are checking, what we should make with the money, and so on and so forth. So risk on is not that attractive anymore. And they see even, for example, the whole zero DTE stuff related to SPY and SPX, where even regulators are now checking what's happening there. Because, of course, at least that would be my expectations related to a regulator, as to protect investors. And that also means if some guys, fund managers or hedge funds, for example, are gambling with big money to manipulate the market with zero DTE, while they know that they are accumulating a lot of risk, and when this risk bubble implodes, that could shift the market 20-30% to the downside, and bring at risk all these investors, the honest one. So everything, the whole environment is changing, and people are, it seems, missing it or ignoring it, or just because they are greedy assholes, just really lying. And it's hard. I'm not going to talk every day about that. It's absolutely not. Many of you know that I'm involved in the traditional banking sector. I was also very shocked when I noticed that they really were in disbelief and expecting something like, like a soft landing and potentially even a pivot. But now it's not part of their agenda anymore. So they recognize, okay, we were wrong, but now we have to make this U-turn. And we know U-turns for banks, big banks, as mentioned so many times, it's like you would, a cargo ship, a huge one, would make a U-turn as well. It takes hours. I mean, I'm not familiar with such ships. Maybe it takes a whole day. I really don't know. But what I want to say is, it's not flexible. It's not dynamic, and it takes time. And now they initiated this change. Prioritizing, checking, and minimizing their risks. I hope you are doing the same. Let us talk now about the market. So, if we take a look to the weights ratio, 1 day time frame at 47 means, if we see here 47 is here, it's of course the 30 days moving average. It was very high all the time, even above of 50, so it will maintain above of 50, but I would expect tomorrow to see more to the downside. However, it keeps being too high, and once again it did higher low. So and that also is indicating we are not done. We are absolutely not done. And the problem I see here is indeed we had yesterday our break at 21.5, 21.8, 21.5. We are at 20k. You have seen here, for example, that we are once again breaking it. I think that 19,100, between 19,300 and 19,100 should be the next station. And then all of these guys who were yelling all the time that's the initiation of a bull market should pray that 19,200 is going to hold, because that's the last bigger volume profile. So concentration of volume, like we had, for example, here, and then we had this big break, and afterwards, even once again here, we bounced a little bit, we went more down. Now we are here struggling on the trend line, and it's looking like it would to break even this one and then go here. At least here I would expect then a higher dead cat bounce or something, or maybe even go a little bit more up, hitting 21.5 or something. That's something we will see. We will check all the data today and see if we can figure out something that's solid and that show us a little bit the path of the next few weeks, or maybe even over the weekend. Today is Friday, yee! So we will see what's going to happen there. If we take a look, for example, here, I'm still expecting, because when the Wales ratio 1 hour time frame dumps, usually it means we will have something. I'm not sure if this one plays out or played out already. I think it did, but they failed, and that was here, because usually what we have seen here is it went down, so a cut of supply, then they pushed up, and I think they wanted to push up even more, and they tried even afterwards several times, and they failed. They failed and they failed and they failed. It a little bit it looks as a hiding sell-off at the moment, because every single time when they are pushing up, we are receiving more Bitcoins. So it really doesn't look great. It really doesn't look great. And I'm not going to check now my Twitter account, but you remember a few weeks ago I said, if we break 21.8, 21.5, 21.8, we will see 17k again. Mark my words. That's what I tweeted. Mark my words. It will happen. It doesn't look great at the moment. We still have a lot of Bitcoins on centralized exchanges. It was really even bigger than expected. I was expecting, hey, we will go a little bit more up and then more down. That's what I tweeted. And I was completely wrong. Completely wrong. And they are extremely bearish at the moment. However, we also have people who are buying, and not only retail. That's another thing. The question is, are they buying just for short-term profit, or are they accumulating to push up afterwards and hitting, for example, 23, 24 again? That's something we don't know yet, and that's what we will try to figure out. But also here, it's something that doesn't look great. I mean, we bounced at 80, now it's pushing up. Weights ratio, 30 hours moving average, pushing up, price declining. Now we are maintaining, the sell pressure maintains active. If we go more up, hitting 90, we will go more down. That's a fact. While stablecoin reserves declined and pushed up again. I don't know if the stablecoin reserve, if, for example, when it's declining in that way, usually it means someone is taking a bigger amount from centralized exchanges, and usually then centralized exchanges will try to refill their reserves because they need them, because they are expecting, a sell off or whatever. But they need a certain level of stablecoins and stablecoin reserves. So yeah, we need to see, but at the moment it really doesn't look great. However, I'm still expecting. I need to correct my trades as well. So when I said, hey, I think we will go up, I reduced my short a lot, and instead I added more funds to my hedge long. It was the bigger position, and then I noticed, oh my god, more bitcoins coming in, and then I had to shift. So when people are saying, hey, it was wrong, yeah, it was wrong, because it's a dynamic market. When I notice, okay, we are receiving a lot of bitcoins to centralized exchanges, I'm not a bot. I'm not going to tweet every 5 or 10 minutes. So in future, maybe it's a better idea not to tweet such information. So in case, because of this tweet, even it was always my opinion and I said that over and over again, I'm sorry if that led you think that we will go up. I have said I was bearish. We would go up but more down afterwards. But no, that was only down. So, however, when the weights ratio 1 hour time frame is indicating, it dumps, usually it also means we should go up again. A little bit, I can't tell you if a lot more, but at least maybe hitting this area here. That's something we need to see. At the moment, just too early to make a statement, but usually when that happens, they will try. It can happen that they fail once again, and we go more down. It's also possible. That's something we need to check. So let us go forward. So if we take a look, for example, here we had an outflow of 220 millions in net flow stablecoins, and then afterwards 288 millions in stablecoin net flow, positive one. So indicating we had here 40, 60, yeah, almost 30 millions, 30 millions gap. So it's not big at all, absolutely not big at all. Let me check here. And, nothing big happening here. Bigger outflows, but also bigger inflows afterwards. At the moment, indicating here 1,420 bitcoins. Here's 800, another 700, another 1,000, another 300. So a lot of bitcoins still arriving to centralized exchanges. Of course, also here 1,700, 1,800 bitcoins outflows at the same time. So let us go forward. So if we take a look here, for example, we see that from here, for example, the funding rate lifted up, then it declined directly to here, then it went up again, and now it's declining. That's why I also think they tried here. They really tried to push up hard and they failed, because if we check the leverage ratio as well, it looks like they liquidated a lot. So the leverage ratio went up like hell and declined a lot, pushed up a bit and declined. If we take a look to the open interest instead, yeah, it was lifting up, but then it dumped very hard and now reducing, also indicating they liquidated a lot. If you take a look now to the net flows here, we see we received 170 millions, for example, here. That was the biggest. That was this morning, and since then everything very flat. Even the outflows, 91 would be the maximum. If we take a look to the bitcoins, finally we received a lot of bitcoins. For example, 3,570 bitcoins to derivative exchanges. At the same time, also an outflow of 3,200 bitcoins So if we take a look here to the net flow, that makes more sense to for us. For example, at the moment, we can see that they are taking out more than so it seems they are taking profit at the moment, and that's what's indicating. And usually that could happen where we could say we are not done, but we can go a little bit more up, or they say, okay, let us take a break and next week we will continue. It's also possible. So anyway, let us go forward. We can see that the open interest declined, leverage ratio also as well, and the funding rate was starting to push up once again. Yesterday, really? Wow. Okay. I'm not sure if that's correct, but CryptoQuant is saying that we just liquidated 100 bitcoins in longs and 13 bitcoins in shorts. Sounds a little bit too small to me, but it's fine. So if we take a look now, for example, related to the longs here, that doesn't make sense because we are missing here almost 300 millions, right? Look, the shorts on Bitfinex 36, while the longs also declined a lot. We had just a few days ago 2.6 billion. Now we have 2 billion. So shorts not really coming in. Longs reduced a lot. In my opinion, they closed, but I think they got liquidated. And also here on Bitfinex, and shorts here at least coming in. So if we take a look, we have 66 to 34 or 64 to 36 on Ethereum, and yeah, that's almost it. If we take a look now on the Kingfisher, all leverage is indicating everything above of 22 would be very interesting. And now we are receiving here huge liquidation clusters related to longs, 140 millions at 60k. That's if we would go down to 16k, that would be crazy, because then the price, if we would liquidate all of them, we would go down very hard, in my opinion. So we can see here 130, 120, 140 millions. That's a lot. 150 millions also indicating the scale went up. If we take a look now to the high leverage positions, it's on mostly on the short side between 20,300 and 20,500. We also have some high leverage position between 19.8 and 19.6. So I would be careful. Also here over the weekend, low volume. Yeah, we will see. So let us take a look. CBD on Binance. Let us take, for example, that here, just to check how much money it was involved. So from here to the current one on Binance, almost 194 millions with Tether. We check, for example, the aggregated, it's 200 million, so not much more. Related to BUSD, we can see here, for example, almost 34 millions. If we check, for example, USD, 110 million. Okay, that's really big. If we take now Bitcoin collateral futures, we can see here, for example, the a $500 million, and stablecoin futures to the current, wow, 3 billions. That's a lot. That's really a lot. 3 billions in one day. That's really crazy. 3 billions, and once again almost 10%, let us say 15% in spot. So the ratio, yeah, it's indicating once again that we will check the volume ratio between spot and derivative, because that's, in my opinion, a much more solid way to check that, because CBD is just CBD. It's just the, cumulative volume delta. And we need to see the total volume in ratio to from spot to derivative. So yeah, now a little bit buying, it seems. Also here we can see related to derivatives. Also here on Bitfinex happening exactly the same. Only Bybit declining more. Even Coinbase declining more. Wow, also Bitstamp doing the same. And Kraken now lifting up. And Gemini, I don't know what these guys are doing, but maybe too smart for us or something. I really don't know. However, if we go forward, we can see, for example, related to stable coins. Yeah, we can check that here. We received here some USDT, but nothing big. So if we check the aggregated one, we can see, for example, here that was March 6th, where we received a lot. Let us take a look what happened since the March 8th. That will be more interesting for me. Okay, so if we take a look today, for example, we received 690 millions. That was no, that was yesterday. So let us take a look what happened today. Today the maximum was 100 millions. That was this morning. And also we see here we had a bigger outflow of 110 millions. So they keep selling and cashing out, it seems. We received here, for example, 17, almost 18 millions in Tether and 17 millions outflows here. On USDC looks a little bit different. 80 millions here, 10 millions here, 30 millions here, and so on and so forth. And we had here 100 millions. That was this morning before we went more down, also indicating some of them are buying. And we received 3.9 million in BUSD as well. And right now we are receiving another 670,000. That's a joke. But however, so if we take a look, for example, now here, let us take a look here. We can see retailers buying, also here lifting up, also here lifting up, also here lifting up, also here lifting up, and declining. We will check right now, because 80% of these wallets are related to exchanges. So we have seen that the net flow was negative, green, indicating they are taking off some Bitcoin, so it would make sense. But at the same time, we can see that they lifted up a lot since November. So, however, now we will check the wallets to see if the market maker is really buying right now. And yeah, it seems they are buying some, at least if I check that. So this wallet's here lifting up, this wallet's here lifting up, this wallet's here declined and maintaining, and this wallet's here reducing. So it seems we received here some wallets. I don't know if we have some delay here in the data, to be honest, but it looks like usually when they decline the wallets, we received here, but it's not the case. Instead here, maybe they sold a lot. Maybe they had, for example, 11,000 and sold 10,000, and now they are shifted directly to this entity. It's really difficult to see that, but it looks like that the market maker at least now bought a little bit, almost maybe, yeah, I don't know, 5,000-6,000 bitcoins or something. So we need to see. Usually when that happens, a dead cat bounce or something could be on the table. Let's just take a look here. And what we see here, for example, is nothing. The last activity related to the market maker, 16 bitcoins, was here, another 87 here, and now 700 here. That was this morning at 4 a.m. And it's really interesting because that matches very well to the 100 million we received. So someone is tracking them, it seems. Yesterday, the highest weights ratio was on Gemini, and afterwards with 73 with Bitstamp. Bitfinex declined a lot, and that's it. So on the exchanges, not happening a lot. Well, funds reducing more their balances from here, 693, 4,000 bitcoins, also nothing huge. And now it seems they are using more futures. So they were using more spot, indicating, the volume for spot was rising in ratio of the derivative volume, and now it's declining again. Indicating now they are using more futures. So also very interesting, but at the moment just too tiny and too early to say if they use for the last leg to the downside, maybe more futures than spot. They stop to sell. We need to see. Let us go forward. So Coinbase at the moment, we need to see, but it looks like 21,130 is at the moment the maximum. Otherwise, they are protecting at 21.5, so it will be possible. They started to add more liquidity also in lower ranges, as you can see, but it's really thin. So almost inviting the price to go down back to 15K. Bitstamp. On Bitstamp, it seems doing exactly the same. Here 20,800, and here at the moment waiting at 19.4. Otherwise, you can see here, also here, everything else, declined in volume and now almost attracting the price to go more down. Binance BTC USDT. They are waiting at 20,700, otherwise 21.5, like Coinbase, for example. So it could happen that we see a 21.5 over the weekend. Otherwise, they are protecting areas at 19, at 18.5, 18, and bringing more liquidity to 17K, for example, as we see. But yeah, that's what we see at the moment. Binance BTC BUSD, also here waiting at almost 20,900, otherwise 20,300. They added more liquidity at 19K, also here at 18.3, and reinforced 17K a lot. And you can see here, for example, what they are doing to the upside. Nothing big anymore. Bitfinex BTC USD. Nothing. They even remove the wall at 19K. So be careful when Bitfinex remove a wall. Usually whales are attracting the price. I'm not sure if that's maybe they shifted the wall now to 19.6. Could be also possible. That's something we should track. Otherwise, 18K would be solid. OKEX spot. OKEX spot also here, for example, 21.5. So 21.5, also something we should have in mind. 21.5 on Kraken at the moment, 19.5, 19, and here also waiting, but the next bigger one will be 17.2. However, also here ready to absorb. You can see what they are doing here. So they are protecting, they are trying, okay, if you want to push more down, we will absorb as much as we can. Nothing on Bybit, BTC USD, nothing on Bybit, BTC USDT, and BitMEX. Last spot exchange here, and also nothing to see here. So let us go to the perp. BTC USDT. They really triggered every single long order here, and now they are here waiting between 20,300 and 20,500, for example, to short again. To the downside, nothing big. BTC BUSD waiting at 21.8, for example, or 21.5. So 21.5, something we should have in mind over the weekend, just in case. Bitfinex, BTC Perp, for example, 20,500, otherwise 18.2. Kraken Futures, 19.228. OKEX Futures, nothing, no. And last but not least, Deribit, where Deribit is protecting an area, a level of 21, but also here indicating, hey, push up so we can short here. So I would be careful if we push up to 21.5. If we push up to 21.5, I think I will start to add more to my short and reduce more my long, or even close it, because but yeah, we need to be careful right now, you know, because usually we did big steps to the downside. In my opinion, only down doesn't exist, but after they did that, the way up, push, it wouldn't surprise me if they do exactly the same now to the downside. So I would be careful. That's it